Welcome students. So in continuation of our lecture series on metal forming process, now we will get into the actual bulk deformation process. So there are four bulk deformation process. First is forging, rolling, extrusion, and then you have drawing. It may be tube drawing or wire drawing. So these are the four predominant metal working process, bulk deformation process. In which bulk deformation, as the name indicates, large objects are made using this processes. So, what type of component can be made by each process? I will explain it in the course of this lecture. So, the first process is a forging process. Forging is a process of using hammer. Equate forging to hammer. So, you'll be using hammer to make the object. So if you say hammer for making the object, the first thing will come to your mind is knife. You would have all seen the making of a knife process. They will heat the metal and beat it repeatedly. So as you can see here, a hammer is here. So as you can see here, a hammer is here and the red hot metal is beaten again and again. So by the image of this red hot metal, you would have guessed that this process is actually a hot working process because the metal is being heated. So it is actually heated to a recrystallization temperature, above recrystallization temperature, so that during the beating process, the grains are stretched and then they are broken into smaller grains. So that's what is happening in this type of process, and it's actually called as forging. So what are the applications of this forging? You can make knives, you can make forks, you can make plates, you can make spanner, screwdriver. So whichever component you are applying load, that can be made using this forging process. So look at the objects around you. Whichever you are giving load, spanner you have to give the twisting load, screwdriver twisting load you have to give, hammer itself will be made using this forging process. So wherever load is being applied, either of these four process will be used to make this. The first will focus on the forging process. So actually forging is nothing but beating it with the help of a hammer. It may be hammer, it may be press. So forging, based on the temperature, it is classified into two types. One is hot forging and another one is cold forging. So hot forging is obviously done above the recrystallization temperature as this image indicates. Cold forging is done below recrystallization temperature. So most of the forging process predominantly involves hot forging only. So here compressive force is used to reshape the material. So there are two types of forging based on the press which is used. So this, as you can see, a man here, he's placed the red hot metal on a die, and then this part, this actually is called as a press. It will come and press the metal down. So hence it is called as a press. This may be either hydraulic, which is oil operated, or it may be pneumatic, which may be air operated. So based on the shape of this die, see this die, it may be classified into open die forging and closed die forging. So which is which we will see now. So first we will see open die forging. As you can see this image, this is actually an open die forging. The die is flat. So when the flat die is used, you can only make some limited shapes. You can make a hexagon, you can make a square, you can make a rectangle. Cross section I'm talking about. Cross section may be either a rectangle, square. Some known shapes can be made using these flat dies. So hence the name open die forging. So this open die forging is actually used to make large components. Very large components can be made using this open die forging. And the next type of forging is actually called as a closed die forging. So in a closed die forging, the die will be in a shape of the component to be made. For example, if you are making a spanner, as I said, spanner will be made using the forging process. So this die will be in the shape of a spanner. So hence, when you press the metal in the shape with that die, then the shape of the die will be imprinted in the metal. So the excess metal will be bleeding out, which is called as flash, which can be removed. This was secondary process, similar to the casting where we did the fettling. Here also, the flash can be removed using secondary machining process. But the important thing here is that the metal will take the shape of the die. So if you need some specific shape, you have to go for closed die forging. But if you need to deform the large metal, or you need to make some square or rectangle or some hexagon shape, nut bolt making process, so that can be made using open die forging. But if you need specific shapes, you have to go for closed die forging. So this figure actually indicates the working of a hydraulic press. As I said, oil will be there, fluid in out is shown here. This is like piston cylinder arrangement. So this is how the hydraulic press, this press actually works with the help of this pneumatic operation. So I hope you understood the forging process. We will see the next metalworking process in the subsequent videos. Thank you.